our Mill Creek Crossing Connection, brought to you by Dan Dolan and Dan Dolan Homes. And yes, joining us in studio, we have Dwight Wheelan for the first time in 2024, as it's almost February already, if you can believe it. Looking at the calendar.
Yeah.
So
I owe you an apology last week. I just forgot.
Oh, that never happens, ever.
So
I know you got a visit, so that occupied your time.
Yeah, and then, of course, I have that great excuse that I use so often. That's what happens when you get old. But anyway, I had it written on the calendar and didn't look at the calendar early enough in the day, I guess.
Well, we got by. That's fine. I knew that it's, just with the weather, we still were dealing with snow and ice at that time, so I figured, not wanting to venture out in that. But it's great that already just a week later, here it is, 40s and 50s, and now that we don't have the massive amounts of snow and ice, it'd be a good time for folks to come out and take a look at that new model home you've got built there, wouldn't it?
You bet. I was talking to Mary this morning, and Mary said, be sure and tell people I'm lonesome. And I know that feeling. A lot of days I sat there and nobody came, and wanted to hear the doorbell ring, but nobody came. But she says she's lonesome and would love to have people drop in. And also, she's making plans for that second Saturday, which is, well, let's see, we got one Saturday. Second Saturday would be the 10th, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would actually be the day right before the Super Bowl, so you could have a pre-Super Bowl get-together.
Oh, hey, how about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, come out and see Mary. She's there from Tuesday through Saturday.
Yep.
And Mary's a great hostess, and she'd love to show people through, whether they're a buyer or not, or maybe they're going to be in the future. Come by and see what's there. There are some houses for sale out there, and we're trying to find out what the status is of them, because some people are inquiring about them. And once we find out, we'll let people know that we know what's going on, and people can do what they have to do to buy homes in the secondary market out there.
Okay.
But there's also an empty lot, and that's the last lot that's in the Garrett Avenue subdivision, where people can get the snow removal, the snow and the mowing in the summertime. But man, aren't we glad that we didn't have to deal with the snow this time. Jimmy did a good job, I think. Of course, a good job is never good enough for everybody. There were some people that had some complaints or things to say about it, but I remember a few years back we had a 14-inch snow, and the fellow that was taking care of it, and he was overwhelmed. He didn't know what to do. And Dan said, I don't either, but get it done. And he did. He hired somebody with a big unloader and came in and helped him. But, Jimmy had this snow in 2 stages, so he was able to clean the first 6 inches out of the way before the last 10 or 12 hit. But he has a good way of pushing the snow. Instead of tearing up the lawns, he just pushes it across the street. In order to keep people moving, he naturally was covering up the sidewalk when he pushed it across the street. So he finally got around to getting the sidewalks cleared, and I thought he did a great job. I wouldn't have known where to start.
Yeah, that was just a really rough week, and I know I would have been perfectly happy with whatever job he would have done if he were doing my sidewalk, because I personally had to go out and shovel that
Yeah.
at least 6 times, and I paid the price. My back was hurting for several days after that.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, somebody has to really know what they're doing when they take care of, over 30 driveways,
Yep.
and then come back and get the sidewalks too. But I'm grateful for Jimmy. He got people out. They were able to get out and go to their job. He was ahead of the city. And so he did a pretty good job. The city came back and plowed us in, and Jimmy came back and took care of that. So, I think the guy put forth a lot of effort to keep us moving.
And again, that service is provided in many of the subdivisions for just $65 a month. And I know with these big snowfalls, people were paying that much or more just for one clearing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like I say, it was just overwhelming. So that makes it, we came out of COVID, which drug it out because I had it and then Shirley had it, so we had to stay quarantined for that. Then we hit the sub-zero weather. We didn't care about going out for that. So it was a month before we came out, and it wasn't like Groundhog Day. We came out and we went back too. But anyway, life's good. Life's good all the time.
Well, that is so good. Just happy to see you out and about again and be here on the air. And speaking of Groundhog Day, I think that's coming up on Friday, I think.
Yep, the 2nd of February. That's right. Yeah. I hope what is it?
He's not supposed to see a shadow.
Well,
if he doesn't see a shadow, then it's an early spring.
I hope it's cloudy out there.
I do too.
We'll help him. But anyway, the streets out our way are clear. Okay. And the driveway, if you come out and look at the house, just pull up in the driveway. Be a short walk to the doorbell, or if Mary sees you, she might have the garage door open. I'm going to take Shirley over to look at it, and I'm going to open the garage door and pull right in the garage.
And you mentioned the time she's there from 11 to 2, Tuesday through Saturday. But if that's not convenient and you need to go at a different time, you can just give her a call and she'd probably meet you
That's
there,
right? It's 11 to 1.
Or 11 to 1.
11 to 1. And she is getting some calls, but, people are waiting, too, because of the weather.
Right.
They don't know what the weather's going to be, but, hey, I looked this morning, out till February the 9th, we're going to see some 50-degree days, so there's no reason for people not to come out.
And, I remember Dan, he always used to say that around the Super Bowl time was a really busy time for people coming and looking at the homes. You wouldn't think so, but it is. People, not everybody's a football fan, and so they'd rather go look at a house on that Sunday.
Well, yeah, and while Dad's got a whole group coming in to watch the Super Bowl, a bunch of the women could come out and look at the house.
Exactly.
Mary's a great cook, and she really likes the way the kitchen is laid out. She mentioned that to me this morning, that she really likes the kitchen layout. So come out and see what's got her all excited.
Absolutely. Yep. We've talked about that new kitchen arrangement that is in this new model home, and you got to come see it. Even if you've seen some of the other homes in the past, this is a little different, isn't it?
No comparison to what my house is like. It is a 3-bedroom on the main level too. That's a new one for Dan. Of course, there's the basement. Can be partially finished if somebody wants some extra bedrooms downstairs. The windows are in to qualify for bedrooms downstairs. Egress windows. I couldn't think of it for a minute, but the egress windows are there, so just use your imagination, and there's easily 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, and only be finishing half of the basement. So it can accommodate a large family.
And of course, you mentioned the new windows and stuff, and just when we went through that couple weeks with the snow and then we had the 15 below zero for several days, look at your heating bill of your 20s house,
Yeah.
and then compare it to what your heating bill is of the new Dan Dolan home, and you'll go, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right there's no comparison, is there?
And it's so comfortable.
Yeah.
You don't, I haven't touched my thermostat, even in the sub-zero days. They're just very comfortable homes, easy to heat, easier to cool, because it's insulated so well, and it's an R50 overhead, and that's unheard of. I even asked a lot one time to come do an audit on my house, and they wouldn't when they found out it was a Dolan-built house, and of course you have to wait 10 years, I think it is, before they'll do an audit.
Okay.
But they're so easy to heat. And now with this spring weather, I've even gone out and hooked the sump pumps back up so don't get the water away from the basement. And Penny and our sump pump runs a lot when the snow melts or when we get a lot of water. So I got both of them where it's pumping the water clear out in the drainage area. And once we get cold weather again, I'll have to reverse that. But we sure put an end to the sump pumps running a lot.
Well, we've quickly run out of time here, Dwight. So again, any final comments you want to make here this morning?
No, just Mary's waiting to see people drive in, and she actually has had several calls, and people have told her as soon as they can get out, they're going to come see them, and hopefully if they don't want one with a 3-car garage, there's going to be some of them come on the market soon with only 2-car garages, which will be more affordable. But of course, we can talk about ways of financing. So, but you need to come out and look.
And you need to call Mary because she's somewhat lonely and she needs to see some people.
You bet.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Dwight, for coming in. Good to see you here in the new year. And that is today's Mill Creek Crossing Connection, heard every Wednesday morning at this time here on KROS, brought to you by Dan Dolan and Dan Dolan Homes.
This is AM 1340 KROS Radio, Clinton.
And FM 105.9.
Dark, can't get